Hello, everybody, and we are back. Talks with Judas, Wrestling with Bros. Host Judas Black here, and tonight we have a special guest, yours truly, Ref Rob Jackson. How you doing tonight, brother?
Oh, I am doing good. Be sure to, of course, check out the merch. You know, Referee Rob Legion old merch. Yes. Rob Jackson had to throw in that cheap ass plug there. Oh, I'm doing pretty good, man. Thank you for having me on. How are you doing tonight? And how are you, ladies and gentlemen, out there doing tonight?
I say I am doing pretty good, and I hope that all of the Wrestling with Bros, Talks with Judas fans are doing good as well. But we are here tonight to talk about the one, the only Ref Rob Jackson. So I'm going to give you the stage for a couple minutes here, man, just to tell us who you are, where you got to start in this wrestling business, and then we'll dig into the questions.
All right. Sounds good. My name is Referee Rob Jackson. Of course, I run a YouTube channel called Referee Rob Jackson. And by the way, for those who are watching on my channel, please go subscribe to Judas Black and Wrestling with Brothers, because thank you again for having me on. So basically, I originally started with backyard wrestling. We had a show called RCW, and well, actually, it goes like way back to middle school, just doing the trampoline wrestling show, and then by high school, we started doing the backyard wrestling, and then after that, we kept going, but we never had a ring, so we'd use the ground, and we'd do it at like baseball fields and stuff, and we had like 6 or 7 seasons going. It was I would say Showcase of the Future, Atomic Legacy Wrestling. At the time, it was Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling. Extreme Takeover Thursdays. Showcase of the Future was the pay-per-view /show. And Carly and I, one of my ex now, but at the time girlfriend, we went to go see the show because I had talked to the promoter, Alex. Like, I was like, hey, I've been watching all these shows on YouTube. Like, where do I get tickets? So I went to go check out the show. And it was awesome. I believe the main event was Ryzen versus Gangrel for the ALW at the time, ARW World Heavyweight Championship. It was a buried alive match, or not buried alive, casket match. Mm-hmm. I still got some WWE in my head a little bit. The tag team match was between the Headbangers and formerly known as the Ascension as well. I forgot what their indie name was at the time, but it was formerly the Ascension versus the Headbangers in a ladder match for the tag team titles. They took these 2 huge ass ladders and put them on the side, and then they actually took like one long ladder and put it on top, and they used that for the to hang the titles. And man, it was an awesome match. So since then, I started going to their shows, and then sometime it was at the Rubik's Cafe in Melbourne, Florida. Now the cafe is closed. I went up to Alex, the promoter, and asked, hey, do you guys need help taking the ring apart? And so he's like, yeah, go ahead and ask Mike. And I'm like, cool, which one's Mike? And he's like, that dude. I'm like, bet. So I go to ask Mike, and he was like, yeah, just start taking out these bungee cords and whatnot, and then just like throw them in the bin. And I'm like, fuck yeah, cool. So the process of doing that, it was awesome, because it's getting involved in it. It feels like a surreal moment, because you're like, wow, I'm actually doing this. Like, even just, whatever. So I started doing that. We took off the apron because, first we had to lift the apron, take off the bungee cords around it, then which you're unhooking. So the way that they have their apron says they have a string through it. Now they have, what is it? The latches that you use for your trucks with the hooks on them. So they just, they use the latches now, but yeah, the ratchets. Sorry. Tools aren't my thing unless and here's the sad part. I used to build fences too, and it's sad that I don't know what a fucking tool is or a ratchet is. Excuse my language for those who are offended by it. Yeah, now they have ratchets, and but at the time we had strings, so we had to like really pull it to get it wrapped around, so that way the apron wouldn't come off. So we took the apron off. Then when you take the bungee cords off, that's what's holding down the canvas. After that, like the padding that's under it is like so a lot of wrestling companies use like the very thin padding.
Yeah.
Like the padding that your ring has, that is the type of padding most companies have.
Yeah.
This one has like that insulated padding, the one that's really thick and it's like hard as a rock. So we're getting this rolled up, and I'm like, man, this really fucking hurts to sit the nail on. Like, so I'm like, wow, okay. Because like I've gotten to step in the ring before, but I've never gotten to actually like, take it apart or put it together and see what was under it, what it's made of. So the padding itself immediately made me feel uncomfortable because like I was standing in it and I'm like, wow, like this is actually like, this doesn't feel comfortable to stand on at all. So we roll up the padding. And this is for people who've never seen what under a ring looks like or anything like that, to give you a real appreciation for this. So it's like a lot of places will have padding, but like this one, this is like the really thick insulated padding. It's like 1.5 inches thick, and it still hurts to land on. We rolled it up, and then under it are the 2x4s, and each one had a number associated with it, with the order that we were supposed to put it on. And then under the 2x4s are the flex beams, and then there was a flex beam that goes across the other side in the middle that has a cable on it. So as we were getting each one, I'm like, wow, this is a workout. This is still a lot of fun. Oh,
yep.
So we got to the frames. Now, mind you, this ring was I believe it's either an 18 or 20. I think it's like a 18 by 18 ring or a 20 by 20 ring. And the only reason why I know is because Alex, when he acquired the ring, it was a former WWE ring. So I'm just like, all right, so this thing already has history to it. So we go to lift the frames, and I'm like, oh, fuck, this thing also has some weight to it. And I found out that, laugh now. I found out that one of their other guys, like, because these frames are like straight cast iron. Like, they're the old school welded together cast iron frames. So we're lifting it, and I'm like, as we're lifting it over, Mike's like, I think this is the heavy one. I'm like, the fuck do you mean this is the heavy one? It's heavy as hell. Like, we did that one, and then once we got to the third one, I realized that one was a lot heavier than the others. I'm like, oh shoot, I know what he means. Well, it turns out that one of the former ring crew and security staff members, Lunatic Lee, he filled one of the frames with cement. So these are already like heavy ass, like cast iron things. Now we have one filled with cement. And he did the same thing with the ring posts too, to, make sure the ring doesn't implode, even though there are 2 cables that are connected to each post under the ring. So if you, and those who don't know the reason why those cables are under there, if you hit those ropes and those cables are not hooked up, that ring is going to like that. So, so after getting that, we're taking the ring apart and simultaneously loading it into the U-Haul. Once we got the frames out of the way and the posts, I was already exhausted. And Mike's like, "Are you coming back to help us put it in the garage?" And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I don't want to fucking do this, but I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So Carly and I headed back to Mike's house. We followed them, and once we got there, just loading the ring back in, so everyone who was at the show, usually like all the wrestlers and the referees and some comment. Well, there's only 2 people at commentary, so like they didn't help because they were it was the promoter and a few others that were getting everything set up with the fans and whatnot. But the wrestlers, referees, and ring crew will take apart the ring, put it in. So what we did was we did the ropes first, then the canvas, then the padding, then the 2x4s, then the steel flex beams, then the frames and the posts. We set them in simultaneously as we're taking it apart. After that, we drove back, and then it was just like 4 of us that were like putting everything in the garage. So like it was a whole lot worse to get set up. But after that, that's where I got my start. The next show was at the Rubik's Cafe. And as we got done setting everything up, the first thing I asked, I was like, "Hey, Mike, would you care if I took a bump in the ring?" And he's like, "No, go ahead, man." I'm like, fuck yeah. And I could see one of the dude's faces like, bro, he's a fucking idiot. So I go to hit the ropes, and as I run, because I learned how to hit the ropes while watching not only training videos, but also like I've watched wrestlers train too. So like when I would come in and watch them, like, you know, like practice in the ring before. And when I say practice in the ring, usually they'll start with some rolls. They'll hit the ropes like first back and forth, then going across, and then they'll do the 4 ropes. And when you hit the ropes, you have to hit it with one hand on the top. Because if that top rope snaps and your hand isn't holding onto that rope, you're gonna go fucking like falling over, land on the back of your head outside. If that middle rope breaks, you're gonna fold like a pancake. And watch Al Snow's video for those who want to know exactly how bad it is. He'll definitely get into detail on that. I hit the ropes, came back, and I don't know why, but for some reason I thought, hey, let me do a running and jumping back bump. You know, great idea on my part. So I hit that, run, I jump, and as soon as I hit it, my vision goes out and then back in, and I'm like, oh, fuck. And as the moment that I hit that mat, I just heard, ooh, and I'm like, oh, fuck. So I did a kip up, and Matt's like, are you okay, Rob? And I'm like, yeah, I'm jipper. So I asked him after that, I'm like, hey, can I do my ref count? And he's like, sure, go ahead. So I I did the WrestleMania ref slide, and I hit that 3 count. Matt's like, do you want to ref tonight? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I'm going to preface this. When you guys who want to get in the wrestling business, go to a school and get trained. Go get trained, get certified, or get trained by someone, get some experience, then get certified, or go to wrestling school. The way that I became a ref, I asked if I could, and I just used what I saw from WWE, TNA, New Japan, from other indie shows, like, you know, from the Body Slam breast cancer event years ago in Melbourne. I just took the rules of wrestling and, you know, I just used them by myself. And Matt like came around the back and he was like, dude, you did awesome. Just 2 things. Get closer to the wrestlers so that way you can communicate with them and be a little bit louder for the cameras to pick up. And I'm like, all right, cool. So that was the first time that I got to referee a match. It was at the Rubik's Cafe, the next show after show, or not after Showcase of the Future. It was one of the next shows at the Rubik's Cafe. And I got to do the pre-show match, or the VIP doors match. It's basically the dark match. It was my tryout, passed it. By the next show, I was actually refereeing for what was it? The pay-per-view was Star Spangled Slammer for Atomic Legacy Wrestling. And if you guys haven't heard of Atomic, or if you haven't heard of Fight TV is basically an app or website that you can download, create an account on, and you can watch like all the big like UFC fights, like all the independent wrestling shows like GCW and stuff like that. A lot of the AEW pay-per-views are also on Fight TV. Even some New Japan pay-per-views are on Fight TV. ALW was doing that for the show, and I'm like, all right, cool. So at this point, you know, we get to the Melbourne Auditorium. There's maybe at least like 200 something people there, and my first thought was, if I screw up, this is on an app where people watch all kinds of independent wrestling. I'm going to make a bad name for not only myself, but the company too. So now at this point, I'm nervous as hell. I'm like, oh, shit. So the 3 matches that I did, thankfully I did well, were the VIP match, the Battle Royal, and then the triple threat match between RPJ, God rest his soul, Money Making Shay, and Pretty Boy Rich Wise. And I really, really, really wish Alex would have released that match. It was awesome, man. Like, there was shopping carts, weapons. We were throwing up the stairs, and, you know, like there were so many things that we got to do in that match, and it was awesome. But yeah, that's basically a background of how I got in the wrestling show. And after, you know, Star Spangled Slammer, I got to, you know, of course, share the locker room and work a little bit with fucking the Rock and Roll Express. Like, I got to work with Jerry Swirls, Xander Perez, RPJ, Money Making Shay, Brothers in Arms, Jason Dugan, Ryzen was there, Jason. There was Wes Briscoe, who cashed in on Jason Dugan winning the show's title. Once Bad to the Bone hit, that place popped, and man, it was an awesome moment. So that's basically me, and that's how I got started in ALW and the wrestling business.
All right, and the ALW is where at now?
So ALW, Atomic Legacy Wrestling, is here in the good old state of Florida. They do a lot of shows in Melbourne, Orlando, and other places too. They recently just did one at the Daytona Ocean Center, and that's a really good place too. They had a very good turnout. So, fans, go show your support for the independent wrestling shows. Go show your support for ALW. It's on Fight TV. You can just create an account on there. You don't have to pay for a membership or anything. It's free to watch the regular shows, and then for the pay-per-views, they're like $10 for a pay-per-view. So go check them out. Worth it. And then there's also stuff I can't say.
I will let you know the video, your promotional video. I used to do those on my own, and I mean I'm still capable of doing that. But a young lady out of I think it's Virginia, if I'm correct. She's a part of a wrestling promotion called Pure Pro Wrestling, out of Virginia, North Carolina, those areas. Her name is Scarlett Skies. Recently had her first in-ring match at Foothills Wrestling, and she's actually the one that makes my videos now for me. So shout out to her for a very good job. She does a very good job for me, and I could do it without her, but I prefer not to. She does a very good job.
Hey, salud.
Absolutely. So, before we dig into these questions, I do want to get into this. You were just talking to me about my 2 out of 3 falls match this past weekend, and you said that you did a watch along thing where you recorded something which you're going to be sending to me later. But I want to get your thoughts live here on the camera. I like to know what people think and what their opinions are, because that's how you grow and that's how you learn.
So let me real quick, I just have to ask, are you guys professionally trained?
I have been trained at CSW out of Chicago and SCW out of Moments, Illinois.
Okay.
I've only got about a year of experience in it. So
hey, any experience is good. So I'm going to preface by saying this. I had a blast watching it. Yep. I had a blast watching it. So what I did was I recorded a reaction video. I usually like to do reactions to whatever stuff like Star Wars or, pro wrestling. And there were some spots that were hit or miss that kind of missed. And then there were some that were pretty good. The only thing that I have to that ref, I'm sorry. It's the referee, man. Like, just like watching, because here's the thing, watching some of it, the experience kind of kicks in. Like, and you're like, all right, well, they could have done better with that hit, or like maybe that kick could have been better, or the way that they did the chair shot. There were a few things in there that I noticed that could have been worked on a little bit, but I had a blast watching it because it was actually pretty good. Better than, it brought me back to the backyard wrestling days, like back when I was doing RCW or, shows like TBW, Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. And, like I didn't hate it. It was good. It was good. There are a few things that could have been done better, but it was an amazing match. Everything is perfect so far. The only real issue I have is the referee and the crowd. And I do gotta say that, I like how you guys are communicating in the ring. I like how you're calling it too. Like when you're getting set up, you're calling your spots. But one thing that I got to see is that ref, man. There's something about what that ref was doing was bothering me, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me until towards the middle, or either towards the middle or towards the end of the video. So you know what the triangle is, right?
I can't remember.
Okay, so referees, and if you're watching, Mr. Ref, referees, where the hard cam usually is, in this case where the audience is, stay out of the triangle. The triangle is the side that, let's say, this is where the ring is, right? So on the sides and behind me, because this is the hard cam, on the sides and behind me is where you want to go. The ropes that are facing the hard cam / the main part of the audience, don't walk in front of those. That's number one. Number two, if you're going to count the pin, look at the fucking shoulders. If you're going to count the pin, go to the shoulders, face them, so you can see if someone's kicking out. Don't go to their ass and be like 1, 2, and then oh, they got an arm up. And 3, That's not 3, but that is 3. See, I can't count. I'm a referee and I can't count. 3. One thing that actually helps, if you're unsure of a pin, slide your hand under the shoulder. If the shoulder is down on the mat, then count the pin or count the count. If the shoulder's up, like, slide it in, say, hey, put your shoulder down, or like, he's not, whatever, communicate. So face the shoulders, stay out of the front of the triangle.
Yeah.
So the audience in this case is facing, stay out of the front, just go around the sides and sit side to side. If one thing I learned is if they're in the corner, just go up to the corner, make sure that you're, if they're in the back corner, let's say the back right corner, kind of face out towards the camera and count, in the corners, do whatever. But another bit of advice to you guys, work the cameras, work the audience. I did like how you did some of it in the beginning, sometimes through the middle, but you want to, like, if you want to piss them off, and I know like it's like family and friends and stuff like that, but if you want to like really like start to get a reaction, not only work the audience at the match, but also work the cameras too. You want your facial expressions to, like really pop out and be like, oh shit, like he's actually hurting. Like this is really hurting. Not only that, but the selling too. The selling for the most part was on point. But if someone picks a limb, work the limb. If someone,
I will say this, my buddy, the one I wrestled, he actually got hurt in that match. When he was doing that, so we had to figure out where it happened at. When he did that leg drop off the top rope across my chest, he landed on his tailbone.
See, I figured either he was going to get hurt or you were going to get hurt, because I knew that someone was going to get hurt eventually in this match if you guys were untrained. But getting hurt, it also happens. Like, it happens to literally everybody in the business. So just try not to. But
that's the only reason, and that's the only reason the match only went 14 minutes, because we had planned for it to go longer than that.
Hey, it was still a pretty decent match, man. Like, it was still a pretty decent match.
And the referee is actually he's actually the head host of Wrestling with Bros. If you look right here behind me on the banner, that's him. His name is Big Baby Ben. And
hey, Big Baby Ben, we got some issues that we got to work out.
But that was actually his first actual show referee, and they asked him if he wanted to do it and try it out, and he said, "Sure, I'll try." I know some stuff, and I thought overall he did pretty good, but I understand where you're coming from with the staying out of the hard cam area, checking the shoulders, that kind of stuff. Those are all things that you do as a referee, you have to check.
Hey, listen, like the fact that it was his first time, like the only the fourth one, I'd get a little bit more passionately into it. Like, sell it to the audience for Ben, sell it to the audience, be like, throw out your accounts like 1, 2, and then 2, but don't do commentary. Just be like, no, he kicked out at 2. He got the shoulder up, like signal. Other than that, for his first time, it was good. I didn't know if like I said, this is the first the first match that I got to watch on your channel.
He's actually one of my best friends. He's my best friend of 17 years. So, so everybody that was in that ring were a circle of friends.
Hey, even still, man, you guys did awesome with it.
Awesome. I appreciate that, man. I love to hear opinions and thoughts, because that's what helps. That's what helps with getting better. It is actually a backyard promotion. So
I could tell the moment that I saw the setup, I was like, oh boy. Like, you'll see the reaction that I give when the video starts. But by the way, real quick, I wanted to say I like your choice in music. NXCRE's Usurper for your theme.
Yeah, I love that song, man. I love it. All right, so let's go ahead and let's dig into some questions, because normally we have dug into questions already, but hey, we've already reached almost the halfway of the normal point of a podcast episode, but it's great. I'm glad, because you did a very good job with filling in for today. Some people, it's like, come on. It's like,
right.
But man, you did a great job. So to you as a referee, and you said that here soon you're looking into wrestling yourself. To you, what is the most rewarding part of being of wrestling?
That's a tough
Oh,
one.
now you're gonna make it hard.
Uh, uh,
I
so
gotta
here's
say, you kind of give me a Seth Rogen vibe. That was great.
um man, if shoot, all right, so this is it's a loaded question and it's kind of going to be a convoluted answer.
Okay.
Well, maybe not convoluted, but a little bit. So the most rewarding part about being in this business is it's everything that goes on behind the curtain. And you could chalk it down to like, oh, maybe it's like, well, a lot of people will say like, it's getting the notoriety. It is seeing the fan reactions to when you come into the arena, when you come out to your theme song, or even as a referee, like some fans who will like take pictures with you or get your autograph. Like, like sometimes it'll just be like wanting to entertain everyone, like when you get out to that ring and you get immediately into character, or as a ref, well, as most refs, and not a character. The only two characters that I've actually been involved with are another referee who is a wrestling / referee character, Ruben Hermoso. That's the man who really taught me a lot of real shit. And then
Okay.
myself, referee Rob Jackson. Rob Jackson is the persona that I took from my YouTube channel. That is also, also a referee. I've been drinking a lot of water, so that was very rude of me. And those elements of that, they add to it, but the part about it that really feels the most rewarding but also pisses me off a lot is everything that happens behind the curtain. And the reason why it pisses me off a lot is because we also have fans who think that just because they read dirt sheets, meaning they know everything about the business, or they can freely give their opinion. And at this point, it makes me think like, man, I really, really, really wish I was a heel. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm in the wrestling business. I can act like a heel. Because everything that you see on social media and Facebook and YouTube, and it's ridiculous that a lot of fans will give their opinion on what the right decision is, or if a wrestler is being wasted. Now, sometimes that can happen because there have been points in WWE and AEW and New Japan and TNA that wrestlers have either been hired, but like they don't have any creative direction for them, so they get let go. And then people will be like, oh, well, the locker room is this, and like CM Punk is he's a toxic asshole, and et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, guys, you don't know exactly what the locker room of this place is going to be. If there's multiple accounts saying that this is what's wrong with the business, then there are certain elements within that business that is wrong. But the most rewarding part about it is that, if you've been there or if you experience it, you feel that feeling of like it's I forgot who said it. I think it was Gail Kim that said it. I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But pro wrestling, and this is another thing that I also is close to my heart because I have a poster of The Godfather right on my wall. It's the from the video game. It has like the entire family tree of The Godfather, the Don, the underboss, the Capo Regime, the Consigliere, and the Associate and the Soldados. Pro wrestling is exactly like the mafia. Once you're in it, you can never get out of it. And that's not just physically, that's mentally. You can never get out of it. The most rewarding part is everything that goes on behind the curtain, because that's where everything, all the creativity, all the genius, all the planning, that's where the storytelling really takes place, is behind that curtain. That's where the psychology really takes place, behind that curtain.
Yep.
Because you can go to a show, you can see the wrestling in front of you, you can come to theories as to what's the story they're telling, or you can look at the expressions, you work the crowd. It's everything that goes on behind that curtain, the match cards, to the planning of the matches, to the story that's being told, to the promos that are being recorded, all the way to the bond and the brotherhood and sisterhood that is with every single person in those locker rooms. Every bit of it starts behind that curtain. That's the most rewarding, being a part of that. And I don't like to pull back the curtain a lot. I really want to, but I don't like to pull back the curtain a lot. I can say that if you want to understand how it feels, if anyone out there wants to understand how it really feels, go get trained, become a part of the business. And if you don't want to do that or can't do that, go watch WWE Unreal on Netflix. They pull back the curtain with a lot of stuff. Trust me, once I went back to watch it, how the process of turning John Cena heel, having Netflix start and debut on Raw, like going up to WrestleMania, it gave me that nostalgia of being back in ALW and experiencing that all over again. That's the most surreal feeling that I could ever feel. Because once everything is done and you go out there and you put all of it to the test, and sometimes communication, it'll kind of get messed up in transit, but the execution of it is exactly what is the best part about it. Because if you execute every single thing that was written down or practiced or talked about, or if they just call it in the ring, and that bond comes out there and you see that chemistry between everybody involved, the referees, the wrestlers, the camera, the like camera crew that's getting the facial expressions, that are getting every single bit, every single person that's interconnected before they come out of that curtain. If it's executed out there, there is one important thing that comes with it. If you get no reaction, your ass is out. If you can get a reaction, that's what you want. If they're booing you, that's what you want. If they're cheering you, that's what you want. If they're booing the match, fine. If you get go away heat, it's better than no reaction at all. You want to make the crowd react, but what you do behind that curtain is going to determine everything before you step out. That's the most rewarding part. It's just being a part of it.
All right. Absolutely. I mean, that's a very good answer. I like that answer. Absolutely. You know, wrestling is family. It really is. And so, what is a typical day in your life like, both inside and outside the wrestling world?
Well, oh man, it's a tough one to answer because I've, for at least maybe like, I want to say maybe at least like a year and almost 2 years now. What are we in? We're in August, so almost a year and 10 months. I've just been out of the wrestling business. I've mostly been working, either that or just like, kind of improvising here and there with YouTube and whatnot. But a day in the life for wrestling at the time, I was working in the security field at I don't know if I could say it on here. Well, I mean, I can say what I did. I can't say anyone who was involved with it. I was working security over at a dispensary, medical dispensary, and that's as far as I can go with that. But it was through it was over the weekends, and like on the days that show days were, we'd switch shifts, and that's when I do the wrestling. And then on my off time, sometimes I would stream on Twitch, or I would stream just to be able to record an episode or a Let's Play. The projects I was working on were Mafia, the Definitive Edition, will always hands down be my favorite video game series, the Mafia series. I was also doing Still Wakes the Deep, which is a horror game that takes place in the mid to late 70s on an oil rig. And then I was also working on like trying to do Easter eggs for Call of Duty Zombies and stuff like that. But nowadays, what it looks like, just mainly working out, and trying to get back in shape. So my goal right now is to drop quite a few pounds. I am currently weighing in at 253 pounds. I was weighing in at 265 about 2 weeks ago. So there's progress, but still progress to be made. With this delivery company that I have to have a DOT for, that I applied, or that, follows Florida DOT law. Once I'm going to be walking to and from there. It's a 3-hour walk, so I'm going to be up early in the morning, walk to work, do my deliveries, then walk home. And once I get to the goal weight that I want, with these deliveries, you got to be able to lift 50, like above 50 and 100 pounds, and etc. And I also have my personal workout set here, and the gym membership down the street's only like 15 to 25 bucks. So once I lose the weight that I'm looking to lose, that's when I'm going to start hitting the gym, getting more and more of my cardio up, because doing this, like, it gets really hot in those trucks. Like, they're like freaking ovens. So your cardio is already starting to you're starting to build it up, plus the heat. So it's grinding you down and rebuilding you up. So once I get that, that's when, once my goal and everything is set, that's when I'm going to go down to Winter Park. And why Winter Park? Well, Devon Dudley's Wrestling Academy is there, and I'm going to train to be a referee, and then I'm going to train to wrestle. And I already have like 7 or 8 gimmicks that I already have in my back pocket that lead up to a 10-year storyline of the evolution of Rob Jackson from Chop Saw all the way to like, it's going to be a full complete circle. But like the Chop Saw character is going to be evolved over that amount of time after it dies and is resurrected again. So yeah, it's planning.
That's awesome.
Just planning inside and outside of work. And then, once I get officially certified as a referee, then I'm going to start taking bookings again and going to different places. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I don't know. I know you said you watched that 2 out of 3 falls, but if you go back to the show that happened, I think it was in May, the end of May, you'll actually see our fully transformed dark sides. It's the Lost Son, Judas Black, and Troy Demir, the Chosen One. You'll see our full painted faces, the whole look of the black. We call ourselves the Black Kingdom. So, yeah, it's a fun experience, definitely. The ultimate goal is to eventually get more into the indies and being able to wrestle a little more there. But you didn't tell me.
Oh yeah, I'm 31. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're 6 years younger than me.
Shit.
So.
Oh, I am so sorry for you, man. I am so sorry for you. You're at that age. Well, at least you're like, at least you're willing to do this though. Like that shows that like if you do this, you train your body to do it consistently and take bumps consistently, you won't have any issues going into it. If you want to, you really could turn your backyard wrestling into an independent wrestling company. Like that's what I planned on doing after I got trained and certified both in wrestling and as a referee and with RCW. I was planning on saving up, getting a business license, and then as you could tell, like this is the original title design we were going to have for RCW. It's funny how that came to be because I had a different title and that was stolen when someone broke into my truck when I had it at the time. So we still had this one. So this one of our wrestlers, Sean Hoffner, he went to, or the Annihilator, he went to get, like he was looking at like different places to get like a title made. So one of which was Etsy. And he's like, oh, like I paid this person $50. They said they can make this. So I was like, all right, cool. And then when we got it, it was just a fucking strap of leather. And we were like, oh, so like we're going to go the paper champion. Like, so, and it was but here's the thing though, it was a really good design. And I realized, you know what? I could use this as a base for the title, like, and we just never got back around to using another title. We just used the old RCW Captain Morgan pose-off title that was taken apart and repainted and redone and fixed up by one of my exes. And that title, like, it embodied like the uniqueness of RCW and what we were at that time. Because we were even competing with TBW, Tennessee Backyard Wrestling, and their brother brand, Extreme Backyard Wrestling. I don't know if EBW is still a thing anymore, but like I think I either changed their name or they just merged with TBW. But we were competing with them, and like Cody, like, because it was, we first did RCW as myself, Cody Rich, Avery, and Sean Hoffner, and our friend Ty. And Ty is this like 6'7" dude, like he's about almost the size of the Big Show. And yeah, so Jesus. We were doing this for a good amount of time, and then TBW, like, either they got inspired by us or something else, but I knew that they were watching our videos. So Cody is like, he has family up in Tennessee, so he would go to stay with them. So I was talking to Josh, the owner of TBW, and I was like, hey, so Cody's up in Tennessee, would you guys be down to do like a cross promotional event? And he's like, yeah, man, that sounds awesome. Like, we'll get this and this set up. So he and I were discussing like plans, because I wanted to go up there eventually, because I had just, I had a shitty, 97 Accord coupe that just gotten fixed up. I'm like, all right, we can do this. Like, so Cody was up there and we were all cutting promos back and forth. Like, we were sending in promo videos. Like, they showed us the best of their abilities. And we were like, I was like, all right, bet, let me go ahead and do that too. So before I had like actual like screen recording equipment, and before I had a computer that could do that, I had to use my phone like up to the TVs to do that. So I had YouTube videos. I just pause and record. And in doing this, I realized, man, like some of these are actually really, really good. And then some of it's like, oh man, I can't believe we were stupid enough to do this because it was cringeworthy. And then the other part of it's like, oh man, I can't believe we're stupid enough to do this because we could have gotten killed. Like, so Cody was up there and we are ready to like get this going. Like I was like, all right, well, Cody will go there. First, he'll be there on behalf of himself or behalf of us or whatever. And then like, we'll work something out with that. But the problem is that one of the guys, Troy or Atomic Titan, he was like as far as I know, he wasn't, down for Cody being there because I'm guessing either he was afraid that someone was legit going to get hurt or like, they're going to get buried or whatever. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, dude, we're willing to work with you guys. We got to be seen as a credible threat, but we're not going to fucking hurt you guys on purpose and then just leave Tennessee. Like, so Cody was there. He was ready, like on behalf of RCW, but it just fell through and stuff like that. So that kind of is, where it led from RCW to that. And he, I think I still had the title in Rockledge and I was like, man, we need to like create a second one. So that way, like if we have another chance, we have a title that actually is legit and can represent us. Cause TVW, they were getting titles from like all these like websites that you can like make a cheap $125 title and whatnot. So I was like, all right, well, that's when Sean got the idea, hey, let me go to Etsy, and then we get the paper championship right there. And then it's just like, all right, well, that's great. So we'll just use the regular title. And I was thinking of taking that and gluing it on there, but I realized that I also have one of my, a concept design for the Lake Wrestling Alliance Championship, because that's another thing I'm going to start up when I get trained, promoted, or when I get trained and certified. I want to promotion, RCW being the main one, Rockledge Championship Wrestling, LWA or Lake Wrestling Alliance. Next thing up, so Lake Wrestling Alliance, I gave it the name Lake after my best friend Chris Lake, God rest his soul. And I figured, if I'm going to do this, like Rockledge Championship Wrestling will be the main show. Lake Wrestling Alliance will be like the developmental part of it. We'll take Trampoline Wrestling Show and turn it into Brevard Wrestling Championship. And then Brevard Wrestling Championship, I was like, wait a minute, that could be the parent company that owns RCW and LWA. So like I had a lot of ideas with this stuff, and it started with that little crappy thing back there. But now I actually am currently friends with someone who created the the company that he works for made the titles for Atomic Legacy Wrestling. Like they make all the titles now, and these are like high grade championship titles, like the WWE kind, like the 4mm kind, or like the whatever, like all the leather and everything with like the heavy gold silver plates and like the snaps and all that. So I want to make a title with that because it has the Guy Fawkes mask, because I had a gimmick called Mr. Anonymous way back in after the high school days. I regret that. Then Cody had Cody had the hockey mask from the Friday the 13th series that Jason had donned in the later movies. And then I had a skull, originally the skull put on for Avery, and then the Spawn mask the skull was for Sean, and then the Spawn mask was also for Sean, but he was the Spawn wrestling character. But what I want to do is I want to take the Spawn mask and I want to replace it with a cross for Avery, because he contributed as much to RCW. Well, okay, there's like a whole thing I could go into about that, and if Avery's watching this later, I know he's going to give me shit on this later. But he, even though he was there for a lot of it, I was a little hard to work with when it came to the backyard wrestling stuff, because I'm like, all right, I want to have fun with this, but just show up like 30 minutes out of your day, just show up. And then he would just go to the hookah lounge all the time. And like, I'm just like, dude, we're trying to do a show. You said you'd be there. Show up. But yeah, that's, yeah. I'm sorry. I derailed off of the question. I have a tendency to talk too much, and I realize this is going on probably a lot longer than you might be used to.
Hey, no, you're good, man. I mean, really, honestly, a lot of the questions that I generally ask, I mean, you answered them for me without me even doing it. And
like,
I'm just kind of
he's doing my job for me. I'll just have him come on instead.
I'm just sitting back here chilling, enjoying the podcast, listening to you. You know, and you also, along with the Seth Rogen, you also kind of give off a jelly
Man,
roll vibe.
listen here, you little fuck. It's funny. Well, here's the thing. It's funny you say that because, like, back in the day, like so I had like longer hair. Now at this point, it's kind of going bald and shit like that. I'm gonna get that Rogaine so I could use it for the chop saw gimmick. Hey, at least you got the mullet to work with, though. You got that to work with.
I've always had a full head of hair. My son, his hair, he looks like he has a mop on his head. Like he's got so much
Dude,
hair.
I used.
It's crazy.
It's funny because like I had my hair actually growing down to here, and it looked like Have you ever seen Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny?
Yep.
Yeah, it looked like Kyle Gass's hair with that that wig that he wore. So yeah, I would always get compared to Jack Black, and I think part of that is because sometimes I make facial expressions that would relate to it, and then I would sing a lot of Tenacious D songs at karaoke. So like it was like a nice mix of the two. I mean, I'll take Jelly Roll too. I know I know I got some weight, but I ain't that fucking fat. But it's good that he lost some weight.
And that man has lost. That man has lost a ton of weight.
Oh yeah,
doing amazing.
It's funny when he was when he had done the choke slam at one of the events. Someone was like, "Man, I didn't know Queso wrestled." Queso was like, "I do not look like that man. I got one chin, buddy."
So, describe to me your favorite wrestling match ever. What made it so special?
Damn. Oh, that's a tough one.
I mean, you filled everything else in so far tonight, so
I would love to, but I'm afraid that I'm going to go on a tangent. Let me see.
Go ahead, man.
I'll answer some more questions that way. Man, that's actually a really good question. I'm gonna split it into two categories. So, the favorite matches that I've gotten to referee in or see were actually like they're listed on my shirts back here. The two events were one that we did in Orlando after I'd gotten back from the Euro trip, and then the second was the one that we did for ALW Blood, Sweat, and Fears. So I'd want to say that my favorite match at the Orlando show was there were two of them. It was I believe RPJ versus and someone might have to go back and watch ALW on this one and correct me on it, but I think it was either RPJ or Xander Perez versus the Tongan Titan, the Trouble Tongan Titan. Shout out to you. But my favorite match on that show, it's hard to determine because there was also a tag team match that was really good where it was Ryzen and Jay Sin versus the Brothers in Arms. And no, it was Ryzen and Jay Sin versus the Headbangers. And Ryzen was going for the tag, and Jay Sin, he pulled away and he turned heel. And I was like, no, you motherfuckers, you didn't even tell me you were going to do this. So, like, after, because my matches were done by that point. Mm-hmm. But the match that was my favorite to do in that show was Money Making Shay versus the Living Legacy Ripper Zbyszko, the son of Larry Zbyszko, and Bobby Fish, who had just come hot off of WWE and AEW. And it was a triple threat match for the ALW Next Level Championship. It was either Next Level or Rapid Fire. I think it was the Next Level Championship. And the communication in that match was kind of terrible, and Shay was laying in a few stiff kicks from time to time. But that was one of my favorite matches to work because it also showed me that even though there's communication in these matches, there's going to be a downside to some of them. But those are my two favorite matches for that show. And like working with Bobby Fish and Ripper Zbyszko. Like, so here's the thing. I love working with Shay. Like, I've worked with him. He's a independent wrestler who, you know, has gone to a lot of shows in Florida, some around the States. Shay, he's awesome to work with. He's a lot of fun. He, at the end of every match, we had this dynamic that I set. And I'm like, you know what? Because in my head, I'm like, you know what? It would be funny if someone from Brothers in Arms would always attack me after the end of the match. So Shay would attack me after the end of every fucking match. And the one that he did attack me, it was the triple threat match. He picked me up and he did a Samoan drop after he lost the match. I believe it was it was either Bobby Fish or Ripper Zabisco that won the championship, because I know Shea was the champion when he walked in, and I think it was Ripper that won the title. Either that or it was Fish. I can't remember because this was like back in 23. But Shea ended up giving me a Samoan drop, and the way I landed it, it didn't land it good. I landed right on my side as soon as he dropped down, and I realized that like that's not a bad thing, because referees aren't supposed to know how to take bumps, even though we're trained to. We're not supposed to know how to take them because we're referees. But the second one, the Blood, Sweat, and Fears pay-per-view was also my favorite show to do overall, because it was myself and Todd. Matt took the night off for personal reasons, and I do not blame him whatsoever. Like, I hope he's doing well today. It was myself and referee Todd Harris, and I just back and forth that entire show. And I got to ref the pre-show. We literally we went match after match after one after another until my favorite three matches that I got to do. And this one I still kind of hate myself a little bit for this one, because we all have that one match where, everything goes great, and then there's a botch in the end that just immediately ruins it in your head. So it was a tag team match for the ALW Tag Team Championships. It was Brothers in Arms out of the group, Shea and Mbadu versus one of the headbangers and mystery opponent. This time, since since after I don't know if it might have been a little bit. I want to say 9 months since Jerry Swirls at that time.
Right there, Jelly Roll. When you did that,
you know what? we're gonna have some issues, boy. I'm gonna put your ass on the retirement home. That's what I'm gonna do. Stop doing that now, because I know. Fucker. So I hate you so much. I'm gonna get you for that shit. I'm gonna come up to Indiana, and I'm gonna get your ass for that shit.
I'm in Iowa, bud. I'm in Davenport, Iowa. You need the address?
Oh, Davenport. All right, because I got two places. I got Indiana and Iowa. There was somewhere that began with an M over in in Indiana, and then Iowa, or maybe I got both of the things wrong. I don't know. Maybe I might just be going senile. So yeah, it was Jerry Swirls, actually the dude that's up here. He actually had a Betty White type of gimmick, a Golden Girls gimmick, and golden swirls and whatnot. Dude was awesome, man. He at one of the other independent shows, he took a bump, and I think it was by someone who legit meant to hurt him, or they were, God bless you, or they were untrained. And the way he landed, it was right on his neck. So he was out for we all thought that more than likely his wrestling career was over. So Jerry Swirls was general manager of ALW at the time, and this is 2 years ago in October. And he was like, well, listen, because it was supposed to be both of the headbangers, but one of them didn't show up. So Glenn, he was there for the match. Jerry's like, I have a tag team. I have an opponent for you and a tag team partner for you. I'll go and get him. So he goes to the back, and I'm just like, all right, well, it's got to be Xander or RPJ, or maybe it's someone, maybe it might be Simbodi or whoever. So some random music plays, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because I'm sitting here, I'm because I know that here's the thing, I saw the card, but no one told me the finish of the match, and that's what we're about to get into in a sec. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, who the fuck is this coming out? And then Jerry comes out in his ring gear, and I'm like, no, I had to stop from marking out, because the moment he stepped out from behind that curtain, that pop was audible from outside of that gym. Because I'm sitting here, I'm like, damn, man, like, because like I thought he was gonna retire, like, because like he wasn't able to wrestle for a amount of time. So when he came out, that audience, like, I could still feel the goosebumps on my arm, man. Like that's how wild it was. So he came in, and I'm just like, oh man, I'm working with Jerry again. So I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, all right, don't mark out, let him do his thing. I hop out of the ring, let him do whatever. Match begins. They're going back and forth, yada yada. They're doing whatever. So this is where they did not tell me the finish of the match. Usually when you're refereeing or if you're wrestling someone, you have to make sure that whatever match you're involved in, you know the finish. Unless, like, you know, they're like, all right, we'll just call it in the ring, and I'll be like, all right, cool. And this is going to go into the next bit of advice that I have for Ben or anybody else in there that's refereeing and on your channel. The finish was where Jerry would Jerry would get tagged, but my back would be to him because I would be stopping someone from Brothers in Arms from interfering. I think it was Jason or Frank that I had to stop, and Jerry would get tagged by Headbanger. It was either Thrasher or Mosh. It was Glenn. So Glenn tagged Jerry, and Jerry was to go to the rope and do a splash off of the top of the rope. And because he is the illegal man, like, you know, I would count 3 count, he'd win, or they would win the tag team championships. It was supposed to be a feel good moment because, you know, like, and this is like a really big feel good moment because, you know, once the whole crowd is counting with you, that's where it's like you're thinking like, hey, whatever. So here's the issue. Through the whole night prior to this match, I was the smart referee, meaning that I was the one who was catching everyone cheating, so on and so forth. And I was just immediately sticking to the rules, heading the rules. But because I didn't know the finish that night of that match, because no one told me the finish, Glenn didn't tell me, Jerry didn't tell me, Shay and Badu didn't tell me, Frank didn't tell me. No one was like, hey, Rob, like, this is what we're doing. I was still in the mindset of the smart referee. So I go in, Jerry goes for the splash, and I'm counting. And as soon as I'm about to hit 3, I stop and I realize, wait a minute, he's not legal. This is where knowing the finish comes into play, guys. Know the finish of the match, and if the shoulders are down, always count the shoulders. Because I stopped and I was like, wait a minute, you're not the legal man. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, you're not the legal man. I can hear the audience booing, right? Because this is Jerry, you know, his momentum, big returning match for the ALW Tag Team Championships, first match in 9 months, whole crowd counted behind me, and they start booing me. So I'm like, you're not the legal man. And Jerry turns around slowly, and this lives rent-free in my head, and he goes, count the fucking pin, you fucking retard. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, you're not. And then in my head it clicked, and I'm like, oh, fuck, that was the finish. So I counted the 3 count. The crowd was booing the fuck out of me. So I got some major heat from the crowd. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at, like, Glenn's chilling in the corner. He's like, you got to be kidding me. Badu is chilling in the other corner. He's like, bro, what? And then Frank is just sitting there. He's shaking his head. Jerry, like, he's like, you know, he has his title, angrily grabs it, takes it. I'm like, fuck, man. And as soon as I go to stand up, because remember how I said earlier that Shay and I have a dynamic where he attacks me after every match? Well, this time he didn't tell me he was going to give me a spear. So I go to check on him. I'm like, you all right, man? He's like, yeah, I'm good. So I go, like, you know, I try to raise Jerry's hand. He fucking, like, of course, pulls it away, whatever. Like, you know, he's pissed off. Glenn is just keeping his composure. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, fuck, that's like one former WWE wrestler that is in the ring. Then I got 2 that are in the back. Well, actually 4 were in the back because it was, 4 altogether were there. It was Glenn, one of the headbangers, because the headbangers are, of course, as you know, in ECW and roster and the Attitude Era too. Glenn was there, Boogeyman was there, Sim Bodie was there, and Sabu was there. So in my head, I'm like, fuck, if any of the vets are watching, I am so screwed. Because in my head, I'm like, I'm running through the worst already. I'm like, all right, they're going to say that I'm not ready, that I'm a bad ref, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, I go to stand up, and out of fucking nowhere, boom, like, Shay just comes from the side and spears the absolute shit out of me. I go down, my head hits the rope, my shoulder hits the apron. And at this point, I'm in a lot of fucking pain. Now I'm like really pissed off. So I go to get out of the rope, and I'm like, well, I'm selling it. I'm selling my ass off, like, because I'm actually fucking hurting from this. I'm selling my ass off. Mike and Roll come out, and they carry me to the back, and they're like, dude, you all right? I'm like, fuck no, I'm fucking hurt. But I'm also kind of selling it, so just keep it up a little bit. And they're like, oh, did you know that was going to happen? I'm like, no, Shay didn't tell me he was going to fucking spear me. So, so I'm sitting there, I'm pissed off. I'm behind the curtain. Like, I haven't gone into the locker room area yet. So, they all come back. You know, Shay and Brothers in Arms come back first. She's like, you good, man? You good? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm all right. I'm just hurting a little bit, but it is what it is. He's like, all right, bet, man. You sure you're good mentally right now, though? And I'm like, I'm a little pissed at myself, but yeah. So, he's like, all right, man. So he goes to the back. And then the first one that comes in through the curtain, fucking Jerry immediately is like, come here. And I'm like, oh, shit. So he brings me to the locker room, and he tries to start telling me what's up. And it was too loud in there. So because we had to use the hallway of the place as the locker room. So he's like, all right, let's go out back. And immediately I'm like, fuck. I'm going to get the spiel. I'm going to get all of it, whatever, fine. So we go outside. And he's like, listen, first fucking rule, Wrestling 101 is that when the shoulders are down, you always fucking count the pinfall. And I tried to tell him, like, hey, look, I apologize. I played the smart referee all night. But before I could get a word out, he was giving me the whole spiel. Glenn then comes out. And I'm just like, oh, no, I got the headbangers. I got one of the headbangers on me now. I'm like, fuck. So, like, I'm thinking, like, man, I've been in this for, like, 3 years at this point, and I already screwed up this bad for the finish of a match because this was whatnot. And so, like, Glenn was like, yeah, this, and this. And, like, they were going off. And then Jerry's like, did you even know the finish of the match? And I'm like, no, nobody told me what the finish was. And he's like, I could see, you could, like, his expression just changed. He was like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, like, I no one told me what the finish was before the match. No one told me what the plan was. I was getting the finishes from my other matches, and I couldn't come here and ask you guys because I was going back and forth in and out, getting ready for other matches too. He was like, oh shit. And he was like, well, where were you when we were planning the match together? And I'm like, I was out doing another match in a segment with Todd and them. So he was like, oh, well, next time, just, ask what the finish is. And I'm like, all right, listen, you're not mad at me, are you? And he's like, no. It's just next time, count the shoulders. Always count the shoulders. Yeah. Even if it's the finish, count the shoulders. Or if it's not the finish, count the shoulders. Unless you know that, hey, this isn't the finish of the match. Always know the finish. And that is how I ended up botching a match and getting so much heat with the ALW crowd to where the next match is I think this one is on the playlist on my YouTube channel because someone else uploaded it. It was the Netflix series Wrestlers.
Yeah.
So Hollywood Haley J, she was making her ALW debut. And it was she was going to face Leva Bates, a 17-year veteran. For funny enough, Leva Bates' match is the first women's match that I'd ever watched in my first ever independent show. It was body slamming breast cancer in the Melbourne Auditorium. The first women's match I ever saw in the Indies was Leva Bates versus Jessica Havoc. Fast forward, not only am I refereeing her match, but it's my first time refereeing a women's match and doing it for the Women's World Championship, a new title they had just unveiled, by the way. And that thing was beautiful. And in the match, it was going awesome. Before we went out, Leva was like, have you ever been super kicked in the face before? I'm like, yeah, totally. Like, yeah, I've taken a super kick. It's, whatever. She's like, all right, well, usually when I do it, I don't hit. So I just tap. So I'm like, all right, I've never taken a super kick prior to this, like a legit, like wrestling super kick, not the backyard bullshit, but like an actual super kick in the wrestling world. Yeah. So we went to do the match. And we finished in the match with that. She would super kick me after Haley pulls me in the way. And then that's when, of course, like, I would go out starfish a little bit in the ring. Haley takes the sock, whacks Leva with it. Then she moves me and wakes me up. And then I count the 3 count. And then Haley's the new champion through shenanigans. So that went pretty well. Because that match was directly after the Jerry Swirls, the tag team match that I had botched the ending of. So when I got super kicked, I could hear some people in the crowd going, yeah, fuck you, ref. And I was just like, oh, wow, thank you. That feels nice. But my third and final match, that felt nice. So, but I deserved it. So, third and final match of that night is my favorite match because of just the two people that were in it. Sin Bodhi versus the Boogeyman from WWE. And I'm glad I got to ref that match. Dude, it was awesome because Boogie was like, back the fuck up. And then he does the Boogeyman head turn and he's like, back the fuck up. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, oh fuck, whatever. So like, I'm doing that. The match went pretty well, except I almost vomited watching them both try to force each other to eat the worms. And I have a story about that too, the worms. Real quick, long story short, because I know this thing is running a while and I don't know how to shut up. So before the show, Boogeyman asked me to wash off the Nightcrawler worms that he had gotten, right? I don't know. I know who bought them to this day, but I'm not going to say who because that was the same night that someone took off because of the personal issue and he was already going through it. And I wasn't going to be like, hey, Boogie, this is who did it. Like, whatever. But at the time, Boogie was like, hey, have you ever cleaned worms before? I'll pay you like $50. And I'm like, yeah, fucking let's do it. So how do I? He's just like run them underwater, like gently brush the dirt and everything off of them. I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, put them in the bag. I'm like, all right, cool. So I got the worms. I got Boogeyman's bag. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So go in the bathroom. And I've never at this point, like, I the only time I've gone fishing and used bait was when I would use like shrimp or like, whatever else, like for like just basic shit for bait. I know some people use worms and I've never had to deal with worms. Like I've handled worms before. I've never had to clean worms or anything like that. So I opened one of the containers and I'm like, fuck, do they always smell this bad? I'm like, all right, whatever. So, I was cleaning them off and I'm like, fuck, like my match is next. And I had to actually stop and I had to set them down. And I went up to Marty and I was like, hey, listen, Marty, I got to go out there. My match is there. When I come back, like I'll, get to washing them. And he's like, all right, cool. Not a problem. So I go out, do one of the matches, come back, and Marty is pissed. So this is like, I get one of the matches done and we are now at the intermission. So Marty is pissed. At first, I thought Marty, for those who don't know, Marty Wright, the Boogeyman. So I'm thinking like, oh, fuck, I took too long. Like his match is going to be soon or I didn't do a good enough job. Like I could barely understand what he was saying. Because like, he had the thing in his mouth and whatnot. So like that gives his teeth a different color. So like, yeah, I couldn't understand what he was saying. So I'm thinking like, oh, he's probably like, it's probably like, whatever. Like, cause I was at this point, like when you're in the ring a lot and you're working in the ring through the match, you're like, I get congested a lot. So, a hot gym plus the ring, plus running back and forth through a really heated hallway. Like I get congested a lot and that fucked with my hearing too. So like, that's two elements of shit. Like he's pissed, whatever. So, like, he's like, who got the worms and whatnot? Who, like, whatever. And I'm like, listen, man, I don't understand what you're saying because my hearing is probably not that good. Is it okay if you slow it down? He's like, yeah, that's fine. Whoever bought the worms did not put them in the fridge like I asked them to. 3 out of the 4 containers of the worms, 3 of the containers were expired. So I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, hey, listen, if you need me to go to a bait and tackle shop, I will do that. I'll switch, whatever matches with Todd. He's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not upset at you. Just whoever got the worms, they didn't refrigerate them. And so now we had to get extra containers. So one of the containers was fine. The other 3 weren't. So, yeah. So like I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, well, I know I'm not getting paid now because someone else is going to get them while I'm doing my matches. But yeah. That's a fun thing that happened. I thought that Boogeyman, because like I'm sitting here, I'm like, because I was thinking about that, because like the whole night I was going thinking like, oh great, now Boogeyman's pissed at me. Fucking Glenn from the Headbangers is pissed at me. Like everyone is pissed at me because I keep fucking up. Thankfully, that wasn't the case. The show itself was still awesome. I got to have a picture with Marty and Simbody in the backstage or in the locker room area, so that was a lot of fun. But those were my favorite matches that I've done because of the stories behind them and because how much I screwed up with them. So, but my favorite matches of all time in pro wrestling, I would have to say, would have to be Alicia Vox versus. No, I'm just kidding. That's a reference to Tough Enough for those who don't know. It was what was it? Alicia Fox versus Melina or some shit like that. Yeah. It turns out that lady became either Cameron or Naomi. Yeah. So that was funny. No, I'd have to say that my favorites were Ooh, it's got to be WrestleMania 17, TLC, Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and the Dudleys. And of each era, it will be those ones. WrestleMania 20, the triple threat with Benoit, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. On that, I'm going to throw the feud between Benoit and Kane and the career that Benoit had in WWE, because Bryan Danielson, if those have a keen eye and a keen memory, pay attention, he was through his career actually honoring the career of Benoit, because like everything that he did in WWE, it was the same. It was mirrored with what Benoit used to do. And then finally, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25. A lot of people say 26 because the stakes were higher, but I think the story between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker was perfect at 25.
Okay. All right. So
that was a lot.
So we have reached that point in the show, guys. You know, this is Judas Black Talks with Judas. This night was referee Rob Jackson. We like to give you a couple minutes here, you know, to wrap up, say goodbye to your fans. And if you got anything else you'd like to tell them or let them know, if you got anything coming up and whatnot, go ahead.
Well, the only things I really can say is that if you ever, want me back on here, I actually, I'm always more than willing to do this again. I actually run a podcast on my show called Conceptualizing Circle. On that podcast, we talk about gaming, pro wrestling, conspiracy theories, like theological debates with religion. We talk about everything on it. Go subscribe to Judas Black. If any of my fans see this, go subscribe to Judas Black and Wrestling with Brothers. Check out the podcast. Please, please, please show your support. Donate to the streams too, man. They need it. I actually need it. I'm broke as shit. I'm just kidding. Go support Judas Black. Go subscribe if you can to the Bengal Dragon on YouTube. He does a lot. He does a lot of really good videos. Like he goes into the psychology of Claire Redfield and the psychology of other, video game characters and whatnot, from stuff like Resident Evil, Batman, God of War. He does GMVs for you youngsters out there. That's gaming music videos or game music videos. He did 4 of them were freaking amazing. He did Resident Evil with Crawling by Linkin Park, or The Trauma of Claire Redfield. The Evil Within, Falling Away From Me by Korn. He also did Figure 09 by Linkin Park for Tekken. And then the 4th one is one of the best ones. He did God of War Unsainted by Slipknot. So go check out the Bengal Dragon. Go show your support and subscribe to Judas Black. Again, thank you for having me on, sir. Go subscribe to referee Rob Jackson. And if you want to wrestle, go get trained. And if you want to do backyard wrestling, I don't encourage it, but it's to your own discretion. Have fun if you do it. Just have fun. Try not to kill each other. I mean, try to kill each other, but try not to kill each other. Maybe I should say that. We try not to unalive each other. I forgot this is going on YouTube, so like YouTube is very strict with that. But yeah, thank you for having me on. I do appreciate it, man. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day to check this out. Thank you.
Absolutely, guys. And like he said, go add yourself to William Robert Rogers' Facebook page. That's where part of the streams too. You can also see the link on my page for my YouTube channel, Judas Black, Wrestling with Bros group. You can also add yourself there as well. Wrestling with Bros podcast, Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok. We got it all. So, guys, we appreciate you tuning in tonight. This is referee Rob Jackson. I'm Judas Black. We appreciate you guys. Stick around after the podcast there, Ref. And we'll talk for another minute. You guys have a great night and stay classy.
Later, everyone.